Welcome to this extended, in-depth analysis of the escalating trade conflict between Canada and the United States. What you are about to discover could fundamentally change how the world views North American economic relations for the next decade. Picture two nations that share the longest undefended border in history. These nations exchange nearly $3.6 billion in goods and services every single day. Suddenly, that deep integration faces its greatest test in modern times. The United States, under President Donald Trump, has launched aggressive tariffs. These tariffs hit Canadian steel with rates up to 50%. These tariffs hit aluminum with rates up to 50%. These tariffs hit automobiles with rates of 25%. Forest products and lumber face additional barriers that disrupt long-established supply chains. Prime Minister Mark Carney has responded with clarity and resolve. He describes these measures as clear violations of the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement. Carney states that Canada will not accept dictation from Washington. He emphasizes that negotiations must respect mutual interests rather than one-sided demands. The Canadian response includes targeted retaliatory actions. Provinces across Canada have restricted American alcohol products on store shelves. This alcohol boycott creates real pressure on United States exporters. Carney has linked the lifting of these restrictions directly to the removal of American tariffs. This strategy demonstrates Canada's willingness to use available leverage. The economic stakes reach far beyond bilateral trade statistics. Billions of dollars in daily commerce support millions of jobs on both sides of the border. Canadian steelworkers in Ontario and Quebec face immediate uncertainty. Automobile assembly plants in southern Ontario risk reduced production schedules. Lumber operations in British Columbia and Alberta see export markets shrink. American consumers encounter higher prices for vehicles and construction materials. Supply chains that once operated with seamless efficiency now experience friction and delays. Global observers monitor every development with concern. Investors in Europe watch for spillover effects on manufacturing sectors. Asian markets assess risks to commodity prices and energy flows. Mark Carney brings exceptional credentials to this challenge. He served as governor of the Bank of Canada during previous crises. He later led the Bank of England through turbulent times. His international financial experience shapes a sophisticated response. Carney argues that excessive reliance on the United States market now represents a strategic weakness. He pushes Canada to diversify trading relationships aggressively. New agreements with partners in Europe and Asia form part of this vision. Canada seeks stronger ties with emerging economies that value reliable resource supplies. This diversification aims to build resilience against future political shocks. The trade tensions create immediate human impacts. Families dependent on export industries worry about layoffs and reduced hours. Small businesses that service manufacturing hubs face declining revenues. Entire communities built around cross-border trade feel the pressure. On the American side, farmers and producers affected by Canadian countermeasures voice their frustrations. The conflict tests the durability of one of the world's most important economic partnerships. Now consider a major positive development that strengthens Canada's negotiating position. The federal government has approved a $4 billion expansion of the Enbridge natural gas pipeline system. This project, known as the Sunrise Expansion Program, is located in British Columbia. It adds 139 kilometers of new pipeline segments. These segments run parallel to the existing West Coast system. The expansion increases daily transportation capacity by 300 million cubic feet of natural gas. Gas flows originate from rich fields in northeastern British Columbia and northwestern Alberta. The route directs supply toward the Canada-United States border and potential liquefied natural gas terminals. Construction is set to begin in July of 2026. The project targets completion and full operation by late 2028. This approval marks an important early test of Carney's infrastructure priorities. It signals a commitment to responsible energy development even amid environmental debates. The project is projected to generate more than $3 billion in economic activity. It will create approximately 2,500 direct and indirect jobs. Many opportunities will benefit local communities and Indigenous partners. Enbridge executives describe the approval as evidence of renewed purpose in Ottawa. They highlight faster processes that help Canada compete as a global energy supplier. Environmental advocates express concerns about habitat disruption and long-term emissions. The government balanced these issues against economic security needs and export potential. Natural gas plays a vital role in global energy transitions. It serves as a bridge fuel that supports reliability while renewables scale up. Canada possesses vast reserves that position it as a stable supplier. Increased pipeline capacity enhances this strategic advantage. The United States imports significant volumes of Canadian energy. This interdependence gives Canada valuable leverage in trade discussions. Expanded exports could also reach markets in Asia through liquefied natural gas facilities. The project aligns with broader goals of energy security and economic growth. Let us examine the deeper implications of these parallel stories. The trade war threatens measurable damage to Canadian gross domestic product. Independent studies forecast potential contractions of several percentage points if tensions persist. Employment losses could reach hundreds of thousands across affected sectors, yet Canada demonstrates notable resilience. Gold exports and other non-tariff commodities provide some buffering. Diversification efforts show early results in new markets. The pipeline approval reinforces Canada's credentials as an energy superpower. Responsible development of resources can fund social programs and infrastructure. It creates high-quality jobs in regions that need economic activity. For international viewers, these events carry worldwide significance. Disruptions in North American auto production affect vehicle availability globally. Steel and aluminum shortages influence construction and manufacturing everywhere. Energy market volatility impacts electricity prices and industrial costs. Investors must evaluate risks to integrated supply chains. Companies with operations spanning the border require contingency planning. Political dynamics add complexity to the situation. Carney secured a majority government in recent elections. This parliamentary strength allows bolder policy choices. He can pursue long-term strategies without immediate electoral threats. President Trump employs tariffs as a primary negotiating tool. He seeks concessions on borders, immigration, and manufacturing. The upcoming review of the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement adds urgency. Both sides have strong incentives to avoid total breakdown. Yet domestic politics on each side complicate compromise. Carney positions Canada as a firm defender of rules-based trade. He calls for negotiations that produce mutually beneficial outcomes. Trump frames his approach as protection of American workers and industries. This philosophical clash defines the current standoff. Historical precedents offer some guidance. Previous trade disputes between the two nations eventually resolved through dialogue. The current environment features greater geopolitical tension and economic nationalism. Outcomes remain uncertain in the short term. Prolonged conflict could accelerate supply chain shifts away from North America. Shorter-term agreements might stabilize key sectors. Energy resources likely play a central role in any resolution. Canada can offer enhanced supply assurances as part of broader talks. The pipeline project strengthens this bargaining position. It demonstrates concrete action to expand capacity. Global energy demand continues to rise despite transition efforts. Reliable, non-Russian sources gain strategic value. Canada stands ready to fill important gaps. Indigenous participation in the project adds another layer of importance. Benefit agreements can support community development and reconciliation goals. Environmental mitigation measures address valid concerns about wildlife and water systems. The approval process incorporated extensive consultations. This balanced approach reflects modern infrastructure realities. Looking further ahead, several scenarios emerge. Optimistic paths lead to revised trade terms that preserve integration while addressing grievances. Pessimistic paths involve extended tariffs and retaliatory cycles that slow growth. Most likely outcomes involve phased agreements that tackle specific irritants. Steel, aluminum, and auto sectors may see relief first. Energy cooperation could form the foundation of renewed trust. Canada continues diversifying regardless of short-term results. New trade deals with the European Union and Indo-Pacific partners reduce vulnerability. Investments in domestic manufacturing enhance self-reliance. Technology and innovation sectors receive boosted support. The trade conflict may ultimately accelerate positive transformations. Canada emerges with a more balanced and resilient economy. Viewers in other middle power nations watch closely. They observe how Canada navigates pressure from a larger neighbor. Lessons learned here apply to relationships worldwide. Sovereignty in economic policy remains achievable through strategic action. Energy assets provide critical leverage when used wisely. In summary, these developments illustrate both challenges and opportunities. The trade war tests long-standing assumptions about continental partnership. The Enbridge expansion showcases proactive energy strategy. Mark Carney navigates this terrain with experience and determination. Canada asserts its interests while remaining open to fair negotiations. Global audiences benefit from understanding these dynamics. Trade flows influence prices and availability of everyday goods. Energy decisions shape climate efforts and security. Economic resilience determines living standards across borders. This situation evolves rapidly. New announcements could shift directions at any moment. Informed analysis helps separate noise from substance. Canada demonstrates that firmness paired with vision produces results. The coming months will reveal the full contours of this story. Energy, geopolitics, and trade rules stand at an inflection point. North America may forge a new model of cooperation, or it may enter a period of managed competition. Either path carries consequences for the wider world. Thank you for investing time in this comprehensive examination. These issues affect economies and lives far beyond Canada and the United States. Subscribe to stay updated on unfolding events. Share your perspectives in the comments section. What outcomes do you foresee in these negotiations? How should middle powers approach similar challenges? We will continue delivering detailed insights on global developments. Stay engaged, stay informed. Prepare for a world where economic relationships face constant evolution. The relationship between Canada and the United States remains vital, yet clearly under stress. Energy infrastructure, like the Enbridge project, offers pathways towards stability. Strategic diversification ensures long-term prosperity. Mark Carney leads with a clear-eyed assessment of current realities. Tariffs create pain, but also motivation for change. Pipeline capacity builds strength for future bargaining. Jobs and communities hang in the balance on both sides. Global supply chains adapt to new pressures. Investors recalibrate risk assessments daily. The alcohol restrictions highlight creative use of leverage. They capture public attention and create political incentives. Resolutions will require compromise and creativity. Energy remains the strongest card in Canada's hand. Responsible development balances multiple priorities. Indigenous partnerships strengthen social license. Environmental safeguards maintain credibility. The approval process sets precedents for future projects. Canada positions itself as a reliable supplier in turbulent times. International partners take notice of this approach. Trade volumes with non-traditional markets continue expanding. Gold-critical minerals and technology exports gain importance. The Canadian economy shows underlying strength despite surface disruptions. Unemployment rates remain manageable in many regions. Innovation hubs attract investment from around the world. Education and skills development support future competitiveness. These foundational elements provide confidence amid uncertainty. The trade conflict did not emerge overnight. It reflects deeper shifts in global politics and economics. Nationalism rises in many countries. Supply chain security gains priority after pandemic lessons. Energy transitions add another variable. Canada benefits from abundant resources and stable governance. These advantages allow measured responses rather than panic. Carney's background equips him to communicate effectively with markets and leaders. His speeches emphasize facts over rhetoric. This style builds credibility internationally. Domestic audiences appreciate the steady hand. Majority government support enables sustained focus. Opposition parties offer critiques, yet broad consensus exists on defending core interests. Unity strengthens Canada's position at the table. The pipeline project enjoys cross-party interest in resource regions. British Columbia stands to gain substantially from construction activity. Alberta benefits from expanded market access for its gas production. Interprovincial cooperation improves under shared economic goals. Federal leadership coordinates these elements effectively. The larger picture involves redefining what partnership means in the 21st century. Close neighbors can maintain friendship while asserting distinct priorities. Rules-based systems protect smaller economies from arbitrary actions. International institutions may play larger roles in dispute resolution. Canada champions multilateral approaches alongside bilateral talks. This dual strategy maximizes options. Observers in Latin America and Europe draw parallels to their situations. Lessons from the Canada-United States experience inform global strategy. Energy as leverage appears repeatedly in modern diplomacy. Pipelines and ports become instruments of influence. Responsible stewardship ensures sustainability. Canada models this balance for others to study. Future generations will assess current decisions against long-term outcomes. Short-term pain may yield structural gains. Diversified trade reduces single-point failures. Strong energy exports fund green technology research. Innovation in carbon capture and hydrogen supports climate commitments. These investments position Canada favorably in the emerging economy. The script of history continues to unfold. Each development adds new chapters. Informed citizens engage more effectively with these realities. Your viewership supports quality analysis. Together, we track the forces shaping our interconnected world. The trade war and pipeline story exemplify larger themes of resilience and adaptation. Canada faces the moment with determination and foresight. Global viewers gain valuable perspective from close examination. Economic interdependence persists, even amid disputes. Energy flows bind nations together. Strategic choices today define tomorrow's opportunities. Stay tuned for continuing coverage. The analysis deepens with each new event. Thank you once more for watching this extended report.